Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your weird master today, I guess. What do they call it? Your weird wizard? No, there is a name for it in this game. Sage. Oh, Sage sounds so pretentious. But weird Sage. I'll be your weirdo. And with me today are the stars of what will be our year-long campaign playing Robert Schwalb's outstanding Shadow of the Weird Wizard role-playing game, the successor game to his Shadow of the Demon Lord. If you're new to our channel, this is actually also the 10th anniversary for our channel. 10 years we've been playing, and Shadow of the Demon Lord, the predecessor to this game, was one of the first games we ran on the channel for an extended period. And so it is sort of fitting that we're returning back to his most recent work. This campaign is going to be played in 11 parts, technically, including the session 0, but we'll be playing 10 parts. They'll be spaced out about a month each. We're taking 1 month off in 2025. We'll have a year pass in-game time between each of those, which is going to lend us the title of our campaign, Decade of Doom. And with me, the stars, the weirdos themselves who will be playing in this campaign. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and what's your familiarity with any of Robert Schwalb's other, Shadow of the Demon Lord style games. First up, we've got Sean.
Hey, let's see. I played my first Shadow of the Demon Lord quite some time ago. Like probably, should have looked that up, but probably 5 years ago. I've ran a couple of adventures, like the adventures out of the Tales of the Demon Lord, I think was the name of the publication. It was a campaign sort, 10 adventures in essence, for the whole campaign. Super fun, really liked it. Really good, like a D&D, I think, adjacent, if you will, a little bit. But yeah, really, and I think the core mechanic is clever for being so simple at the table. And that's what I got.
Nice. Next up is Carl.
Yeah, I've never played Shadow of the Demon Lord. I have I have the books. I have a lot of stuff from bundles of holdings that I've taken a look at. But you know me, Kevin. I'm gonna play in one of your games and then try to figure out how to run it myself.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I have not. I'm a novice to this game, which is
great.
That's our first path, is a novice path, right? So.
Excellent. Next up is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and we played Shadow of the Demon Lord here on the channel, and it was one of my favorite characters that I've ever played. So I'm looking forward to this game to see what comes about.
Nice. Next up is Jamie.
Hey everyone, I'm Jamie, and I played about 10 sessions of Shadow of the Demon Lord back in 2021. Really enjoyed it, and looking forward to getting weird with you all.
Very nice. Next up is David.
Hi everyone, I'm David. I'm Slanjava, although celebrating the Bard today. And it's Burns Night here in Scotland, so I thought I'll treat myself.
Nice.
And I've, in terms of familiarity, I've run Shadow of the Demon Lord a few times and thoroughly enjoyed it. I think one of the creepiest character any one of my players ever made was in the Shadow of the Demon Lord session. And I've also whenever had the chance to bring to the table the Punk Apocalyptic spin-off or rules. It sort of uses the same rules setup but very different setting. So yeah, very much looking forward to this.
Excellent. And last but certainly not least is Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham, and I am absolutely new to the sort of Shadow of the sequence of games, but I'm a big fan of Robert Schwalb, so I'm a big 4E, D&D 4E fan, which he did writing for. He's written for Numenera, which I'm another fan for, so I sort of really enjoy his work, but I've not actually played sort of this game or the Demon Lord.
Nice. So, we talked a little bit beforehand about what, where, we were going to play the game, and the setting or the default setting, at least for Shadow of the Weird Wizard, is a region called the Borderlands, and those are sort of located between an empire that is in the midst of collapsing and the new lands where the Weird Wizard has disappeared or vanished or been killed or who knows what, and their power base has collapsed. The region, I don't think I actually loaded the map in. Oh, look at that. Hey, Kev from 2 weeks ago. Good job, buddy. This is the Borderlands. And the old country is where the Empire is located. One of the things that was neat about Shadow of the Demon Lord, which isn't in this game, and I don't fault it for it, but is the Shadow of the Demon Lord had a kind of a ticking clock. There was a doom that was coming to the world, and at the start of a campaign, you could roll randomly to see what that was. And one of the neat things about it was that we ended up, I've never really been a fan of kind of using fairies or the Fae or like Titania and Oberon as an adversary. I've never used them in a game, but we happened to, in our game, roll that, and it forced me to incorporate them, and it ended up being really, really fun. There isn't a similar ticking clock doom thing in this game because this is a more optimistic, more heroic game. That is not to say that it isn't a dark game. The challenges that your heroes will face are certainly, they would be very much at home in a Shadow of the Demon Lord campaign, but you are less likely to see a lot of body horror or body comedy stuff in this campaign. There are no vomit-related spells that I'm aware of. There is less really extreme horror stuff in this. So where our campaign is going to start is in a place called Newtown, right here, that is across the Salt Barrens. We're going to see what characters you guys are going to end up playing, but what I'm assuming is that some, if not all of you guys, have made the trek across the Salt Barrens from the Old Country as part of the refugees who are fleeing the collapse and the chaos in the Empire. That may not be true for all of you. We're going to see what the connections are between your heroes as your weirdos as we go. The game doesn't call them weirdos, incidentally, for those listening at home. That is an absolutely irresistible name for the PCs. So enjoy the next 10 sessions worth of me calling the weirdos. Then other than that, you know, the world is our oyster. What you guys choose to do, what you guys choose to play is going to be completely open. So everyone has a character sheet. Everyone has a copy of the rulebook, one way or the other, and PDF or in print. First decision, and here's what my thought is we're going to go through this step by step. We'll do the character generation. Oh, Jeff is building a fort.
The sun just comes in this window at this time of day.
I was wondering why you're suddenly in shadow. I'm like, you're taking the title of the game quite literally. It's really impressive.
I want to block the sun. Well, this works.
Oh, you're muted, Sean.
Jeff's under attack. He's trying to bolster his defenses. You know what? While Jeff's doing that, I will say that something I was remiss. I didn't mention that Amy and I have played Shadow of the Demon Lord together some years back now. I didn't mention that. We were players together in Arlen's game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That was good times. I didn't mention that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my thought is we're going to go through step by step for these, the way it's set out in the rule book, and then we'll see these characters come together as we go. I'm going to tell you, I've done my best to try and remember all this stuff, but those who may be listening around this time know that I have crammed an awful lot of German RPG into my head in the last little bit. So I may be displacing some things or misremembering things. Graham, on a non sequitur this morning, I realized I was going nuts trying to find something in the Dark Eye, and then I realized when I was talking to Will today, I'm like, oh motherfucker, it's something that's from Fading Suns. It's something from Fading Suns that I have imported into it, and I was driving myself crazy trying to find it.
Well, it's Unity Spiel, so you know.
Exactly. So, all right. So then, first thing for you to decide is whether you are playing any ancestries. The core rulebook suggests, and for those listening at home, if you're curious what goes into the books, or what consists of the game, the original Shadow of the Demon Lord was a one-book product. It was really fucking cool that way. Shadow of the Weird Wizard has a player book, which is the Shadow of the Weird Wizard, and a Secrets of the Weird Wizard supplemental book for the GM, or for the Sage, the Weird Sage. And then we're also going to be making use of Weird Ancestries, which is the one of the first source books. Actually, it was the first source book, and then there was a book on the faith or whatnot that has come out as well. But the Weird Ancestries has a bunch of information about playing non-human ancestries. However, that information is actually in here as well. So it's nice having it in one book where you can get everything. And I think there are rules for playing Novice Path Ancestries in here that are not in here. But if you want to play any of the Weird Ancestries, you don't necessarily need to pick this book up. It's a nicer, it adds some a little bit of extra options for you with it. So that's what we're playing with today. And I actually should include a link to all that shit in the description of the video for those who may want to pick it up. So I'll do so. I'm going to remember. I won't forget. All right, I'll probably forget, but hopefully someone will remind me. Then, guys, anyone have any non-human ancestry that they're thinking about playing? Yeah. Okay, we got Sean, we got Carl.
Go, Carl.
Yep.
Jeff?
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure.
Jamie?
Yeah.
Okay.
You weirdos.
You better believe it.
Okay. So the four, why don't you guys each, let's keep this interesting. Why doesn't everyone put in chat what you were intending on playing or thinking about playing?
Okay.
And I don't give a shit if we have a bunch of copies of the same, ancestry. That doesn't bother me, but in the event anyone wants to go with something different. Ooh, a Revenant.
I believe there are 31 options total.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a,
Wow.
I
27.
can call them.
Let's see.
Okay. 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess if it's 31, you said, it has come up, I guess. 29, 28, 27. Sprite.
Perfect.
Okay.
I was Sean. That was Sean heckling, not Jeff.
You're not locking in Harpy?
Right. No, I am thinking of Harpy, though. Yes, Harpy.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. A warg. All right. So, this will likely inform the kind of campaign you guys are going to end up playing. So, let me say this then. Anyone have any issues with the selected ones? Because I think it's fair that if there is one ancestry that is going to disrupt what you had in your mind for what you were going to play, it's worth having that conversation now. Nobody?
All good.
Okay.
I don't think I know enough about the setting necessarily to even make a comment. Like, the wargs and the harpies have never gotten along for 1,000 years. I wouldn't know it.
So
not yet.
Then it is a good opportunity to look in the book and see if that fits, because obviously your character can be from a different they can you can make them whatever you want, but the cultural associations with their species or their ancestry is going to carry over in the setting. And again, I'm happy having a weird party, but just don't be surprised with what comes from playing the characters you're playing. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. And. Nice. Okay. And Sean, you're good with Harpy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in.
You're in. All right. Then, David and Graham, do I take it from your silence that you are then going to play humans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had looked at some of the weird ancestries, and like the Revenant looked cool, as did the Warg and a few others, but yeah, I'll be a token human.
Okay.
Someone has to ground this part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less weird.
All right. So then, if you guys could go into your character sheets and please enter in your ancestry ability. So it'll have your size, it'll have your speed. If there is any special abilities, you can add those in as well. Humans are on. Oh, that's secrets. There we go. You know what? Maybe I'll go back to the weird wizard thing here because we're not really talking about. All right. So, human ancestry is on page 10 of the core book. And once everyone is done there, we will go on to professions. So in Shadow of the Demon Lord, you actually got 2 professions. You only get 1 in this game. And you have the option of selecting a specific profession or to roll randomly.
Do we start at level 1?
Yes, you'll be level 1.
And do we put like the Revenant traits and all? I mean, like the level 1 Revenant, is that something different? Or?
Not the level 1. Hold up. Make sure you're muting yourself if you're refreshing in Roll20, guys. Not the level 1, just the basic things. You can choose to take your first level as a level 1 Revenant.
Oh, okay.
But you can also choose to be a fighter, a mage, a rogue, a priest, I think is the 4th one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. But otherwise, yeah, your other things like Divine Doom, From the Brink, Feign Death, all those traits, you can add those onto your character sheet. I actually should take a look at the character sheet to see. Let's see here. Let me take a look at the character sheet while we go here.
Professions now, where might they be? Let's have a look.
Page 11.
Yeah, no, I found them. So it's on the sheet, actually. I found them now.
Oh, okay. So, if anyone... Oh, sorry. Once everyone is finished adding in their ancestry, then if you tick the box, I guess you can show your ancestry traits and add them in.
Okay.
I think it's more of the weird ancestries you need to concern yourself with that. Oh, no, human has one too. Yeah.
That's above, yeah? Is that the thing I put in?
A cut above. Yeah, that's correct.
And you literally type it in or copy it in.
Yeah, copy it in. And then if you're copying and pasting from a PDF, just remember, if you want the formatting to be fixed, just go to the back of each jagged sentence, hit delete and the space bar, and it'll fix the formatting for it. Not everyone is beset by OCDs when I am, so if you don't give a shit about that, don't worry about it. But it is something I cannot abide on my own sheets. Okay. Then next up is going to be professions. If anyone wishes to roll their profession, go ahead and give us a D20 roll to start.
Hold on, you're too fast.
Sorry. Hey, why don't we wait until everyone's ready?
Just give me 1 second.
There's a lot to write for a sprite.
Well, I have 3 traits, and I do have OCD, so I have to remove the weird tabs.
No problem.
I mean, not bad, but just for stupid things like that.
Oh yeah, it's something that'll drive me bananas.
I guess I can do that later too.
Yeah, it looks like not everyone else has done it. Looks like anyway. So
No.
Okay, wait. So we have a human, a sprite.
you have 2 humans, a sprite, a ward, which is kind of like a werewolf, a revenant, which is a risen dead, and a harpy, who is a harpy.
I mean the Revenant used to be human, so.
Oh, is it? Yeah. He used to be human. He also used to be a corpse, so.
Yeah.
Okay. This is something that is a very cool about his games. Like, he published for Shadow of the Demon Lord so many just wild options for playing characters in Shadow of the Demon Lord. We had a Raven who was a character in our campaign. Jeff's character had a muscle car, thanks to the godlike or god, whatever it was, God something or other source book that came out. All right, so Graham, your character, 13, a wilderness category of profession, and
a prospector.
You're a prospector. Nice. Okay, and then for Sean, that's an academic profession. Go and give us another D20. An inventor, a harpy inventor. Okay. David, you're a criminal. If you want to give us another D20. 18. A mugger. Criminal who is a mugger. Jamie, that a 19. Okay, hold on. Oh, aristocratic. I looked down, I saw you were a politician. That is an academic one. So you are an aristocratic profession. Go ahead and give us another D20 roll.
Okay.
What page is this on, Kev?
This is on page 11. And a 15, aristocratic, a landholder. You owned an extensive plot of land and likely had a noble title to go with your holdings. You also have a sword.
Cool.
Okay.
My turn. Yep.
So we have, whenever you're ready.
Is that everyone?
D20, yep. Carl, an 8 is an entertainer.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And give us another. Jeff, you're also an entertainer, so would you each give us a D20 roll?
And Jeff, you were the sprite? Oh, that's kind of interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
7.
So
or 16, sorry.
16. You were a juggler and a fortune teller for Jeff.
There you go.
Ooh, a fortune teller.
Okay.
Nice.
Wait, so where does this go? Is this our novice path?
No, this is your profession.
No.
Oh, just a
It's
profession.
the right column. It's the column on the right.
Yeah, the way that
Oh, there I see it. Yeah.
the way that things work in Shadow of the Demon Lord, you don't have a list of skills. You just have professions, and if your profession would influence, like either enable you to do something or give you a benefit on doing something, you get to add a boon to it, or you get a benefit relating to it. It's a very kind of loose narrative thing.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Each of your things may give you a some gear as well, which you'll want to hold. So, like the juggler has a set of 5 daggers. The fortune teller has a deck of cards.
My tarot cards. They're very tiny.
And
There
I
you
assume
go.
the party gets free fortune-telling services.
The mugger has a blackjack
Oh, I
treated
thought
as
you were
a
going to ask
club.
for dagger services.
Yeah.
Free stabbies.
You were an inventor. Oh, great news. The Harpy has a toolkit and a set of spare parts. And let's see here. Graham, what were you?
Toolkit for me as a prospector.
Oh, he's a prospector. That's who gets rich during a gold rush. The person selling the pans. And then Jamie, you got that sword, right. And a former title. All right. Anyone have any thoughts on potential connections between characters at this stage?
Well, between Jeff and I, we are maybe in the same sideshow, carnival, right? That could make sense.
For sure.
Did you die before or after you became a juggler?
During.
I say, during. During is.
Yeah.
Depends is going to be around this carnival or circus. I don't know. Maybe.
Did you die on stage?
That's amazing.
I say, ironically, you're probably stabbed in the back.
I love that.
It wasn't me.
So we also have a prospector, a noble, and a thing. And I should say as well, like if you're not if this doesn't fit the character you were starting to get your mind together, you can feel free to pick or re-roll or whatever.
Yeah. This is cool because now it kind of informs what path I want to take, I think.
Yeah. So what about the rest of the more... So the prospector, I can understand why you might be on the road. David, your character might be on the run. What about the noble and the inventor? Any thoughts on how your characters are fitting into these things thus far?
It's apparently unusual for a harpy to leave the community. Let's see.
Were you perhaps a caged thing? Maybe you were raised as a pet or something like that. If you want to draw a connection to Jamie's character, you may be a legacy of like, you're a harpy, but you're a harpy that was like taken as a chick and or whatever, and you've become this like inventor, but it's as kind of like an act or a innovation. And maybe not, Jamie didn't wasn't his character didn't own it. Perhaps it was a family or something like that owned it, but that might give a connection for you two and an explanation for why you have such an unusual pairing.
I'm an emancipated harpy. Is that the? It's interesting. So I was like I was kind of a bauble of a noble family in essence, right, Kevin? That was kind of
that's just a proposal. Like if that doesn't fit with how either of you guys.
No, I mean it was what I was thinking, but I really wasn't thinking anything. I was trying to figure it out. So that's not terrible. Like that would certainly be an unusual explanation of why I'm not in a harpy community. And maybe I had to think my way out of my situation. I had to, that led me to the invention type. I had to be.
Yeah, Sean. What if they could not make a lock to keep you in?
Oh.
Someone comes in their lab and they're like, "How the fuck did he get out again?"
Right. Yeah. That works. Yeah, that's where I was going with it. So yeah.
Jamie, does that fit with the character you were seeing come together?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a contradiction in the sense that the warg is someone that wants to roam around in the wilderness. So perhaps his family left him some land, right? And he's conflicted by that. Not something he's used to doing is staying in one spot.
Yeah.
So I would call it more of an inheritance, but not in his nature or his background so much to be managing property. Not
to play too stereotypes here, but it could be like a Greystoke type situation where they found you and were like, oh yeah, you're the heir for this, and you were like, yeah, no, I'm not keeping any of this shit. Also, the harpy's coming with me too. Same. Does that work for you?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. What about David and Graham?
Is it just with one character, or can we have other?
If you see other connections with other characters, feel free to talk them over.
I have a suggestion for Graham, or David's character. They could have been the guy that found me, either prospecting or in an alley somewhere as a criminal, near a criminal hideout. So either one. They could have been the one that found the dead body, and it wasn't dead.
I was thinking I could maybe have been part of the same traveling troupe that you two are.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Have to leave town quickly. Oh, there's a circus. Let's join the circus and get out of here. Type situation.
How it fell apart. Whether I would say that my character wouldn't remember, and even why he was killed. Maybe that's why he tried to find people who were once in his troupe.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, both those things could be true too. Perhaps like David was trying to, your character, while part of the troop, you're like, oh, dead dude, all right, and you're rooting through his things, and then wait, what the? What about you, Graham?
I think my character is looking for prospecting for things that are a little bit unusual. So he's looking for, I don't know, unlikelium or whatever the jewel might be. So something that's not your classic gold and silver, but actually something perhaps with weird and potentially magical properties, or at least used often as components in more magical endeavors. Perhaps stuff that can defy gravity, or just something that's really weird out there.
Okay.
And, possibly I'm commissioned by. I wonder if I might have been commissioned by the noble. I'm not sure.
And if not by him, perhaps by the family. And it sounds like if Jamie's character was like, I'm not having anything to do with this shit. I'm going to, everything is falling apart around us, including this family. So I'm leaving for the fucking new. Perhaps that's where both of your characters were like, okay, yeah, we're coming too.
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
Yeah.
So okay, great. Well, we've got some connections between everybody then. Jeff, what about you? Sprite being part of a, perhaps it's not surprising that it would be entertaining to people, but you ending up there, how do you think that ended up?
I think that maybe my gang of sprites were killed, and I found myself sort of in a tough spot, and maybe there was some depression involved, and So, it started out by being mean to humans. The fortunes that she would tell would always be dark, and like bad things are going to happen to you. But maybe she's drifted away from that now. We'll see if she's still sort of giving dark futures.
Very nice. All right. So then, equipment that you start with is on page 14 of the Shadow book. If I say the core book, I'm referencing the Shadow of the Weird Wizard book, not the secrets. So the core book on page 14, you get a normal set of clothes, you get a dagger, and if you have, say, 5 daggers already, you get another dagger. You also have a backpack, a water skin, provisions, 5 torches, and a tinderbox. And then you have a choice of one of the options. But I think one thing before making that decision, you may want to consider what your novice path is going to be.
Yeah.
So the 4 universal novice paths are fighter, mage, priest, and rogue. Each of those are very similar to what you would expect from those classes in other fantasy RPGs. Those of you who are from unusual ancestries, you should also have an option to be level 1 of your ancestry. Now, let me see here. One thing I'm not clear on, maybe someone else has seen this. If you start down your ancestry path, do you have to continue during that, or can you swap over to a novice path? Or can you mix and match?
No, I think the ancestry becomes your novice path.
Got it. Okay, so that is one thing to bear in mind. If you choose to go with that, there are 3 levels that will be selected for you. You will not gain access to the novice path stuff. So that may not matter to you because, maybe this fits with your concept of the character. But
so how does that work then? I mean, what is this novice master?
Okay, that's a good question, Carl. Sorry, that's so the game. The characters you're playing in the game are broadly speaking made up of 4 different choices. Your ancestry will inform some of your background for it. You will then start along a novice path that you follow for level 1 and 2. At level 3, you select an expert path, which will start adding new class features and more. I don't know if there's any restrictions with selecting an expert path. So if you can start as a wizard and go into fighter or whatever the hell you want, then at level 7, you will select a master path. And each over the course of your character's lifespan, you'll get different things from different levels. So levels 1 and 2 are from your novice path. 3 is your expert path. I think 4 is expert as well. 5 is your novice. 6 I think is expert again, and then 7 is your master path. And then I can't remember how many it swaps back and forth.
Novice is only 1, 2, and 5. So
yeah,
got it.
Page 11 at the top.
Okay. Oh yeah, even better. Then you swap back. Level 7, you get your master path. Level 8, master path. Level 9, expert path, and level 10 is your master path. Not bad for not having run this game in a long time. So that's what ends up happening. Is your character ends up becoming this kind of over the course of the campaign, you will gain abilities from a bunch of different things, and you'll have an opportunity to like kind of double down on a strength that your character has or a path that they're following, or to go weird with it because you're not restricted in any way in what you choose to do. So you could start as a barbarian and then become a inventor and then, switch to become a diabolist or something. Some of those will be suboptimal choices because you're not going to be building on what you had from before, but it also means you have more diversity in what you get to do. And one thing that's interesting about this game is that it's tried to bake in around those suboptimal builds with the math. So there's certain things that you're not going to fall behind on it because you went down an oddball, or an unconventional route with your character.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
So your ancestry path can only be taken at novice, then I'm assuming.
Correct. Yeah. If you choose your ancestry path, then that replaces the novice path instead. So It's worth taking a look at what you would get from it and see if that's what you're comfortable with gaining. So, anyone have an idea of what they want to do? So maybe it's a good idea to think about party diversity here too.
I was considering when I was caged, something I was able to explore was one of my, owners or whatever you want to call them were had some knowledge of magic, and so I was sitting over there, and they would ignore me as I was like, So I was kind of looking at the book. They'd leave the books open. I'd be reading. They think, oh, that's the bird.
Yeah. Look how cute it is.
Right. Why would you close the book because a bird's in the room? Like, that's kind of lame, right? So, because I'm absorbing all of this over the course of, maybe years. And then sure enough, all of a sudden, the bird is able to manipulate things and utter a few words when they're out of the room and that kind of thing.
You may have seen this already, Sean, but there is a technomancy school of magic as well.
No, I didn't know. Nice.
Okay. So it sounds like Sean's thinking mage. Anyone else have any inclinations?
Yeah, I was thinking rogue, just because, I think the profession informed what I wanted to go with being a juggler and having all these daggers. I think rogue seems the way to go for me.
Graham, you were going to say something?
I was going to say I always pick I always seem to play warriors, so I'd like to be a mage if possible.
Yeah?
If it fits,
Yeah, I don't think there's a wrong build here. Like, you guys... Paradar has informed us that, like, you can make a perfectly, capable party of adventurers with no healers in the group. You need to not roll a sandbox campaign, but we have the advantage of structuring the campaign from the get-go. So Graham is thinking of playing a mage. What about David, Jamie, and Jeffrey?
The only stipulation I had was I wasn't going to play a healer or a doctor or a medic.
Yeah.
I was initially thinking mage because I love playing mages regardless of the system. But given the sort of background I just wrote, I'm thinking maybe rogue or fighter would, and because we can always change into, I could become an archmage for my master path after all, sort of. So I was probably gonna go rogue or fight and then see where our adventures take us.
So maybe let's talk about what magic is in this game, because both the priests and the mages gain access to magic eventually. Priests don't get spells to start with, though. So there's something unusual here where you do get, but when you pick a path or a tradition with your thing, you also get a talent that comes with it. So one way this differs from Shadow of the Demon Lord is that if you become a fire mage and you learn some spells from the fire tradition, you also get to pick a talent that comes from it. There's like 5 talents that you can choose from. And that's true for all of the schools. You will never get a comprehensive list with any one character. So your characters can end up being extremely different. If we had a party of all mages, you could make completely different characters with that. So don't feel that just because someone else is playing a mage, this is not the kind of game where, oh, well, how about you take Magic Missile and I'll take, whatever the fuck, because we don't want to be feeling like we're doing the same thing every round. You have enormous variety, both in the priests and in the mages, so don't worry about doubling or tripling down. Plus, as soon as you get to your expert path, you're probably going to go in a different direction than what the other mage is. So there's a lot of opportunity to both mechanically and thematically make your character your own through this through the selection of magic. So don't worry about more than one person picking the same thing. But that said, fighter's also a really fucking cool class in this one. So or path. What about Jamie and Jeffrey?
I think I'm just gonna take the sprite path for my novice path.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna do the same and stay with my ancestry.
Very cool. Okay.
Now, just to clarify, when we become expert level, we can select something different, or are we bound now to stay with?
When you hit expert, what it means is that at level 3, so you'll get the level 1 abilities of Warg. Assuming you survive, you'll reach level 2 and hit level 2 abilities of Warg. And then assuming you survive further, you then get to pick any expert path you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
So you can feel free to go into whatever the heck you want. And then similarly, once you hit level 7, you can make any selection you want for your mastery. Perfect. So yeah, it's a very, very cool thing about the game is that the neat mixing and matching, and they've smoothed over some of the mechanical bumpiness that was in Shadow of the Demon Lord for doing the more unusual mixing and matching. So I think we've got everyone in there. Oh, there we go. Slanja. We have everyone selected their path. So why don't we roll some distinctive features here, guys. Now, you do not have to do this, but boy, is it funny if you do. If you do want to roll that, give us a D6 and a D20 roll, please. And we'll see what everyone's features. Okay. Okay, so Fenric, I'll go from the top down. 5 and 18. You have webbed toes.
Good swimmer.
Fenric, yeah. So you have webbed... I mean, they're not necessarily scaled, right? It could just be the fleshy bits from your, wolf form. Let's see here. Sean got a 5 and a 4. You crack your knuckles when idle.
Standard. Is that weird?
I think the frequency with which you do it, maybe. Graham, 3 and 3. You have a wart on your nose or chin.
Right, it has to be incredibly prominent then, I think.
David, a 4 and an 18. You carry a considerable amount of extra weight. You're very, you're loving the carbs, I guess. And Juggler, 4 and a 7.
Yep.
You have a rattling cough.
Oh, cool.
I assume there is some either throat or lung damage related to your shuffling off your mortal coil.
Yep.
Jeffrey, I'm going to ask this facetiously, but would you like to roll randomly for your...
Yeah, I was just trying to make the chat not too hard to follow.
Okay. 4. This 4 chart is pretty popular. And a 5. You have tattoos over most or all of your body.
Oh, that's cool.
Of course I do.
Yeah. All right.
Suddenly we're playing in Talislanta.
Yeah, really. Identity. That'll make Wayne, GM champion, very happy if we're playing Talislanta. Let's see here. Identity. Okay, so if you would like to roll for personality, there are options for that as well. Rolling for your looks feels like just a kind of a fun accoutrement. Rolling for your personality at random does seem like it's saddling you with something. So if you do not wish to roll this, I do not care one way or the other. Does anyone wish to roll up their affability, their dependability, their outlook, and their receptiveness and their sociability?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm happy to do so.
Nice. So it's a 3d6 this time for each of these.
Okay.
So whoever would like to go first, go ahead and give us... And actually, you can give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rolls back to back if you like.
Yeah, once someone starts, just do 6 in a
Yeah,
row.
so maybe just do 6 rolls, or actually 7 rolls, Graham, and then we'll... And remember, with Roll20, you can hit the up arrow. It'll repopulate whatever you typed in last. So we've got... There we go. Starting at 11. Your affability. You can fend for yourself in social situations, but you're also fine when you're alone. All right. Dependability. You try to be conscientious, but sometimes fall short. These are very much like
Average.
Yeah, or like it's what you would read in a horoscope. It's so down the fucking middle. It's like, yeah, that fits.
Yeah.
Outlook is an 8. Some call you a pessimist. You expect the worst so that you will never be disappointed.
Yeah. We need to branch away from me.
I was going to say, I think
Come on,
there's a
guys.
British joke to be made here too. But next is your receptiveness. You are willing to try new things, just not all the time. And then sociability. You feel people are the worst. You have few friends and no close friends.
Yeah.
In fact, seeing the presence of a hot tub may cause you to avoid major property purchases. And then religious beliefs. You know the gods exist but lack commitment to any religion. So that makes the last one inconsequential. Anna says that sounds cool. Who would like to go next? If anyone. Not everyone has to do this.
I'll go.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. So David, give us 7 rolls, please. 4, 5, 6, 7. Excellent. That was a perfect opportunity for me to practice my German. Jeez. All right. So then 10. So your affability, you can fend for yourself in social situations, but you're also fine when you're alone. We should really know that that bell curve in the middle is like, nah, it doesn't matter. All right. Dependability. You try to be conscientious, but sometimes fall short. Next is your outlook. Life is what it is. Anyone can be calm and collected or nervous to the point of fearful. It all depends on your situation. Okay. Receptiveness. This looks interesting. If it's not broken, why fix it? Be practical. Now we're starting to see some insight into our mugger. And then 15 for sociability. You know some people are bad, but believe most aren't, so you try to give other folks the benefit of the doubt. I think I fucked up here. Hold up. I think your outlook should have been 12. And then your receptiveness should have been 12. You're willing to try new things, but not all the time. Your sociability should be a 5. Nope. I'm wrong. I'm wrong again. I didn't scroll down. Ignore me.
Yeah, too much should be...
Yeah, so your sociability is your receptiveness is a 5. If it's not broken, why fix it? Your sociability is a 15. You know some people are bad, but believe most aren't, so you try and give other folks the benefit of the doubt.
And then for that.
Your religious beliefs. You believe in the gods and offer prayers to them all, but 12... Ooh, the old gods are those that you preference, or that you prefer. And the old gods aren't as, I don't think, as spooky in this. Maybe they are, actually. Hold up, I can't remember.
They have names like Lord Death and Mother Fang, and, you know, they're proper old gods. I think.
Lord Death is, that's a fucking Batman villain. Lord Deathman. Okay.
He's the main god of the old ones, is Lord Death.
Yeah. Okay. Then it is whoever would like to go next, if anyone.
Yep.
Gonna go. Go ahead. Give us 7 3d6 rolls there. All right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excellent. Again, I missed the German opportunity. God dang it. Next time. All right. Juggler. You enjoy social situations. This is affability. You enjoy social situations and the good conversations they provide.
Wow.
Dependability. You try to be conscientious, but sometimes fall short. Outlook. You have terribly sensitive nerves and struggle with anxiety.
Yep.
I mean, you were murdered, so like that, you know, one bad day will ruin any subsequent one, I imagine. 14 for receptiveness. Often you think about new ways to do things and new activities to pursue. You might not succeed at all of them, but you're willing to try. For sociability, that's 14 as well. You know, some people are bad, but believe most aren't, so you try to give other folks the benefit of the doubt. All right, Anna. And then piety.
It's a 13.
You have a strong commitment to one or a few gods, and the suggestion is one of the old gods.
I mean, I guess that's when kind of Lord Death probably brought me back, or...
Yeah.
Or you escaped his kingdom or grasp. Lord Death, creator of reality, ruler of the old gods, Lord Death presides over the underworld and the fate of most souls of the dead. Destruction and order are his associated traditions.
He's not necessarily evil, though, right? No.
What's evil? I mean...
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the ones that have like Lord Daughters of Death, are they old gods or not? They're new ones, right? Sister Moon, these are the ones. Suggestions that I have for a priest.
Those are all the old gods.
Oh, where are the old gods then?
Those are all like his daughters are part of the old gods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The high one is kind of the new god. That's the dominant faith in the empire.
Okay.
It's said that he stole, that he basically stole the kingdoms to Lord Death's kingdom, or keys to his kingdom, or something along those lines. Hi. Okay, Anna says hi. Yep. Is it safe? Can we continue? Thank you. All right. Okay, so there you go. Who, if anyone, would like to go next?
I will give it a run.
Okay, 7 3d6s. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. I wasn't even looking at the numbers. I was just trying to really concentrate on my German.
Yeah.
All right. And you said yeah, so you look at that.
Yeah.
All right. 8 is affability. You prefer to let others do the talking. You think about what people say and consider every viewpoint before offering an opinion. Your dependability, for the most part, you do what you say, and so you do what you say you will do. You try to stay organized and to keep your priorities straight. A clockwork mind, almost. Outlook. You strive to be positive, to be a positive, upbeat person. You look for the good in all things and hope for the best. Your receptiveness. You are willing to try new things, but not all the time. Your sociability. You believe people can be good or bad. You withhold judgment about someone until you get to know them, which is a pretty positive attitude to have, having spent time in a literal cage.
Yeah, seriously.
Your piety, you believe in the gods and offer prayers to them all, and your preference is the old gods. Okay. That leaves Jamie and Jeffrey.
I'm ready.
You ready? Give us 7 rolls, please. Anna says good luck. All right. 2, 3. Alrighty. So, first, your affability. You can fend for yourself in social situations, but you're also fine when alone. Your dependability. You try to be conscientious, but sometimes fall short. Your outlook. You strive to be a positive, upbeat person. You look for the good in all things and hope for the best. Fitting for a sprite, perhaps. Your receptiveness. You're willing to try new things, just not all the time. Your sociability. You're pretty much right down the middle here, Jeff. Your sociability is that the 11 or the 10? That's the 11, right? Yeah, the 11.
Yeah.
You believe people can be good or bad. You withhold judgment about someone until you get to know them. And your piety is you believe in the gods and offer prayers to them all with a preference for one of the old gods.
Prayers to the old gods.
Yeah, with a preference for one of them. And I think there's one that's actually kind of related to the Fae.
Yeah, I'll probably... We'll get to that.
Yeah. It's funny, someone criticized the names of the gods in this. They're like, oh, they just sound like archetypes. And it's like, yeah, welcome to fucking RPGs, buddy. Like, what do you...
They're the old gods.
Yeah, like, and also, like, I don't want to have to remember some stupid fucking made-up name. I want to know what it is. That I'd rather err on the side of, like, oh, I understand what this is. And finally, Jamie, would you like to do this process as well?
Sure, yeah.
You do not have to. I can tell you, I would not. I would rather see what the character's like at the table, but...
Oops, I wrote the wrong thing here.
There we go. Off the races. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. All right, so we'll skip that 18. Affability. You find it hard to pay attention to what other people say and often lose track of conversations. In fairness, Fenric, Anna is the exact same way. So,
That's the wolf in him.
I will apologize now for the next year's worth of Anna jokes at your character's expense. So Dependability. You try to be conscientious, but sometimes fall short. Your outlook. Some call you a pessimist. You expect the worst so that you will never be disappointed. Your receptiveness. New ideas and activities make you uncomfortable. Your sociability. You know some people are bad, but believe most aren't, so you try to give folks the benefit of the doubt. Your piety is 14. You have a strong connection to one or a few gods, and the suggestion is the old gods. So I believe we have an entire party where no one gives a shit about the new god.
If it ain't broke, why fix it?
Exactly. If you're supposed to be eternal, why are we changing? All right, so...
Well, it's all just pointless, really.
All right, so has everyone got a name selected for their character as of yet? There are some suggestions on page 19, if you do.
I am Oakley the Mage, reviled by many.
Nice. You want to change your display name to your character name if you have it selected?
Can do.
And so we just have... okay. Then... it is the novice path. So those of you who are taking your archetype, or rather your ancestry path, you have the set stats and your selected abilities, so you can go ahead and record those. That's Fenric and Moonbeam. And then we've got Juggler is going to be a rogue. Our as yet unnamed Harpy is going to be a mage. Oakley is going to be a mage. And David, your mugger.
I'm going to go with Fighter for my novice path.
Very nice. Do you have a name for your character too?
In the moment, I'm having a look at the list.
Is that a French name or?
Dans un moment.
Yeah. I think it's a running joke in what's it called? What's the Morrowind? I guess if you click through too quickly in Morrowind, it like adds the default name as new or something like that. So there's a bunch of people whose characters' names are new, or something to that effect. I can't remember what the actual prompt is, but it's one of those things you can easily prompt pass it. It's difficult to get back to. So as far as your scores are concerned, for those of you who are not going with the ancestry ones, you can choose to assign them, which is a 12, 11, 10, 10. You can roll them randomly for each of the things, or you can... Actually, that's it. Those are the only two options.
Okay. No roll.
Okay. Give us a D6 roll then, please, Carl.
Okay. 4.
4. Strength of 12, agility of 11, and intellect and will at 10.
Yep.
Sirocco, love it.
Okay.
And Oakley, do you want to assign or roll?
I have assigned. I'm just sorting out my source of magic.
Oh, okay. What's your source of magic?
I dug too deep and pierced a vein in a mountainside, which held some kind of spirit that infused me with and awakened a sense of magic. So it was my prospecting that actually brought me to my profession.
Very nice. Okay. What about Sirocco and Caden? You assigning or rolling?
Rolling.
Rolling, nice. 5. 13 strength, and then 10 in everything else. You are a big lad.
I believe as a human, I can increase 2 of them by 1.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Done that.
Okay. And then Sirocco. You gonna roll or you gonna pick?
I'm going to assign, I think.
Okay. And then what about for the fighter, battle training? Do you have something in mind or would you like to roll?
I will roll.
Okay. 2. You studied at a military institution where you were schooled in various fighting techniques.
Interesting.
Okay.
Wow. And you beat the shit out of people and stole their lunch money, apparently, while doing so. What about you, Juggler? Do you want to roll for your crooked road, or do you want to select?
I'm looking. I think it might be better to select because some of these just would make sense.
Okay.
I'd say number 6.
Number
Kind of
6.
fell into it. Yeah.
You failed at whatever you tried to do first, but you learned enough to help you in your future pursuits. I mean, as a revenant, there's no true way of failing at something than losing your life in the course of doing it. So yeah.
Yeah.
And what about you, Sirocco? I think you had sort of alluded to how you learned in your backstory.
Sorry, tell me again. I was thinking. I was deep in my attribute calculations. Give me
That
to
is
me again.
okay. I was asking about the source of magic, how you learned, but I think that you alluded to that in your backstory.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I kind of like it. I mean, it seems pretty natural and kind of a good. That she's clever. He's clever, and he, felt like he outfoxed his, his captors.
Love it. Okay, so then each of your paths will grant you natural defense, your health, your languages, and then any special abilities you've got. So go ahead and record those. Those of you who are mages, you can select 2 traditions, and from those 2 traditions, select 4 novice spells. You also will be selecting 1 talent from each of those traditions. And that's listed under the traditions themselves. They start, I think it's near the back of the book. Where is it here? No, so the magical traditions start on page 75. The talents are at the beginning, and then the spells are afterwards. You're picking 4 novice spells. Make sure you are recording how many castings you get with each of those spells too, because the way that magic works in this is those are your daily castings. You can double down and pick the same one twice, which means you'll double whatever your available castings are. But yeah, feel free to make your selections from those. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 33 different traditions of magic to choose from. So, no pressure. There is correct answers here. You also get your mage implement, so consider whether it is a wand, an amulet, a totem, a crystal ball, or some other kind of object that helps you focus your magic. The implement contains a number of charges equal to your level. Once per round, you can expend 1 charge from it to produce one of those 3 things that are listed on page 22. No decisions to make as a rogue just yet. You get those 2 abilities, Cunning, Dodge, and Trickery.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, each of the novice paths has some reactive ability and some active ability that you get. Ditto for the fighter. What about the weird ancestries? What do you guys get? Let's see. Jamie, tell us what you get as a warg.
Level 1, he gets knockdown on a critical success when in wolf form. Then he can, make a target fall prone. And then the other would be Savage Wolf. When you're using wolf form trait, attacks with teeth deal extra 1d6 damage and count as piercing.
That's badass. Nice.
And then just as part of being a warg, he has obviously the wolf form, which I was going to ask perhaps I could get a second character sheet for
Yeah.
his wolf form, because it's a little different. His defense will be different and speed will be different, things like that.
Sure. Let me duplicate that right now here. Edit.
And then the last thing he has is a pack tactics. When attacking a target that's already been attacked during the same round, I get an additional boon.
Okay.
So
Nice. Here we go. All right. And... Oops, shit, fuck. Hold up. Where'd he go? There's the duplicate. Restore. There we go. I'm hitting all sorts of wrong buttons here. Like every possible... Here we go. Okay, so all players, yes, can be edited by... Here we go, Jamie. There you go.
thank you.
You're welcome. Does everyone want a handout for notes as well? Or are you to keep notes on your character sheet or in some other format?
I've been popping them on the notes tab at the moment.
Yeah, there's a notes tab, so I think I'm...
Oh, is there? Okay, then we don't need an extra handout.
Oh,
Okay.
good call.
Delete. For images for your stuff, if you guys wouldn't mind emailing me them too, I'd like to make a square kind of bust images for each of the characters. So if anything, use whatever you like for the image for it. We're just going to have kind of consistency among what the tokens look like. Jeff, what does Sprite get?
Sprite gets wicked tricks.
Uh-oh.
You can use an action to play a trick. Target one creature within 10 yards and make an intellect roll against the target's intellect. On a success, the target suffers one of the following effects. They take 1d6 damage, or 2d6 at 3, 3d6 at 5, etc. Or the target gains one of the following afflictions. They are frightened of me, they are weakened, or they are vulnerable. Or they fall prone and cannot stand up until they make a luck save.
Luck saves are basically like flat rolls in Pathfinder 2, where you're just rolling I think it's a 11 or higher is a success. Oh, don't you have a luck stat too? No, you don't.
There's a luck roll. There's just a roll by it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think that's what that does.
It says luck, and then there's just a dice.
Yeah.
Okay, is this a round up or round down game?
Probably round down, knowing it's Schwab, but let's take a look.
Because it's 1 plus half my level, so I either get like 1 and then 2 at 2, etc., or I get 2 and then stay at 2 until I get to 3. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I do not know. Let's see here about fractions.
And the other thing I get is I can cast spells. I get 1 tradition and then 2 novice spells.
Nice. Okay. So you get to select that. That means you'll also get 1 talent out of that too. So whatever tradition you get, select one of the talents from that. I do not... game rolls. Here we go. Rolls up. Making rolls. Critical success, critical fail. I'm looking, Anna. Searching. Okay. Let's assume round down for now, and then I'll do a... Actually, I could just open up the PDF and take a look here. Let's see. Let me see. I'll do a keyword search.
Okay, sure.
That's it. Pretty nice. Anyone made selections for their traditions thus far, or are they leaning in any directions that might help our mages distinguish themselves from one another?
Yeah, I've got 2. Where does it say I can't find the place where it says when you get talents. You were saying it's one per.
Yeah, when you make it,
tradition,
when you learn,
novice.
so it is on page 20. Discovering
Thank
a
you.
tradition grants you 1 talent from it. In addition, each time you discover a tradition you have discovered, you gain another talent from the tradition. If you have 4 talents from a tradition already, you instead learn a novice spell from the tradition. And then each tradition offers you 3 spells, blah, blah, blah. One thing, I actually spent a lot of time looking online to try and find an answer to this, because in Shadow of the Demon Lord, when you got a tradition, you also automatically got spells. That's not the case anymore. This seems to say, because like the priest doesn't get spells until 2nd level. You get talents, but you don't get spells at 1st level.
Right.
So, anyway, that's where that's from.
Right, thank you. Brilliant.
No problem.
So, I didn't, so far, I can move them around if it helps, but I've got alteration and enchantment, which seems to fit my prospecting a little bit.
Okay. What about Sirocco and Moonbeam? What are you guys thinking for your magical traditions?
Oh, divination, 100%.
Okay. Oh, yeah, your fortune teller,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't see the magic. Oh, there it is. Found it. Duh. It's on its own page.
Round down to
So-
the nearest number. Page 8.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
40.
That's exactly what I was thinking it was going to be.
Yeah. Okay.
So that means I can use this once per day. So far, right now.
Yes.
My tricks.
Your tricks, your devious tricks, some might say. Your weird tricks, wicked tricks, I guess. Okay, and I'm going to look at rest. What about Sirocco? What are you thinking?
I mean, Sirocco, a couple different directions, and one is his, of course, his background. So the background would be on either a technical level, or I'm seeing another potential possibility in the teleportation area of how we got out of the cave.
Oh.
Yeah, there's one particularly juicy little tidbit there where one form of teleportation is swapping. So I could have swapped locations with one of my captors, and so he's in the cage and I'm out of the cage.
Yeah.
And that's a little juicy right there.
Interesting.
That cage might not have been big enough for him, so who knows what.
Is that a spell you can actually cast at 1st level, or?
Oh, that's a good point. I'm not even close to
Okay,
that. I'm just dallying in the narrative space here for
Yep.
maybe I did it by accident and I can't replicate it until 2nd level or whatever it would be. I'm just going
I
on.
mean, that could be a talent, though, like that. If that's, swap spaces is a talent.
Oh,
Yep. However, it is one ally.
ally. Okay. Well,
I wasn't ally at the time.
ally, schmally, he feeds me.
But you know what the thing is, it could very well have been before you refined yourself. Perhaps you did it by accident.
Yeah,
So that's, I don't want
I-
to take away that neat thing. And that if you're taking
Yeah.
that as the talent for teleportation, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm working on that. So teleportation is kind of interesting, and so one direction is my background, and the other direction is my ancestry. My ancestry, a couple of them are particularly obvious. Aeromancy, because I fly.
Yep.
So that's a good low hanging fruit to think about. Astromancy, because it's sky, similar theme there.
Yep.
So those two are interesting, and then. I haven't quite gotten of why yet, but I just haven't read enough. But the third is war for harpies.
War, WAR?
Yeah. So I'll give that some thought.
Okay.
I'll find out more of why that is for harpies and see see what that's.
Yeah, some neat cascade of strikes. That sounds unpleasant
wow.
for the recipient.
Beautiful.
Okay. Then so juggler is and moonbeam. You're putting in divination, right? As your tradition.
Yeah.
What
That's right.
what talent did you go with?
Ooh, this one's really tough. What is How does the mechanics of boon and bane work again?
You roll a d6 that is added or subtracted from the result, depending on whether it is a boon or a bane.
Ooh, because there's one that just is like combat precognition. While I am not injured and I'm not confused, controlled, stunned, or unconscious, I attack with a boon, and anyone who attacks me has a bane. That's a pretty good way of like flitting around as a sprite and not getting hurt.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with that one. Knowing Kevin, there will be some combat.
Think there's a good chance of that?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance.
As is customary, we will open with a bear. And
that was kind of vicious.
Yeah. Yep. For Oakley, what did you go with your talents? You said it was enchantment.
Yeah, I'm looking now. It's very difficult to choose. So I think for my alteration, I'm going to go pretty nasty in a way. I'm going to go warp flesh. So I just spasm people into different forms that they find uncomfortable.
You can take the shadow out of the Demon Lord, but you can't take the Demon Lord out of the shadow. That's great.
Yeah, a bit of slaying going on there, but not in a good way. And I haven't quite yet got to the enchantment talent. I'm still working on that.
Okay. Anna says that's horrifying what you selected, but she fully supports it.
It's pretty bad, actually, yeah.
Caden, and then actually, you know what? Caden, Fenric, and Moonbeam, if you selected your other stuff, you guys can go back and select your last batch of gear then, if you like.
Yeah, I did that.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I just need to pick my spells, and then I think I have everything.
Excellent. Then we'll talk about, maybe what we'll do is have you guys, now that once we reach the end of your care gen, we'll have you introduce your characters to one another, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going to be bringing them to Newtown. Although Newtown does really sound an awful lot like a boy band from the late 90s.
No, that's totally not what I wanted. Goes in here. Does that work properly?
There you go.
There we go.
Yep.
Okay, and then enchantment.
Sirocco, you narrowed your selections?
I might have slightly gone in the other direction because I thought it was a little.
You, Sean, come on.
I know. Chaos was a little interesting because I used it as a distraction, like to affect my escape. So that was.
Yep.
I've not narrowed yet. I'm working on narrowing.
I think it says a lot about the game. It's nice to know that it, like its predecessor, there's lots of interesting options to be considered. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And for the rest of those concerned, those in the fighter and the rogue, once you hit level 2, you'll start having some interesting options to make. Because I think both of you guys get. There's like a wide variety of things you start picking from.
Yep.
So long as you guys survive to those levels, then you'll be fine. I'm sure you will. I'm fairly confident. Mostly confident. I have some confidence. I have some confidence that you will see level 2 and be able to make some of those selections. They are really neat, though. My goodness. Like picking one fighting style for the fighter, that is a tough option or tough decision to make. Is it only one? Yeah, jeez Louise.
I think you get a second one at level 5.
Okay, there we go.
But still, yes, there's a lot of good options on there.
Shit, yeah, actually the rogue has... Like, fighting style is one of the options they can pick, so they have all the fighting style options, plus some other rogue nonsense. Wow. Yep. Okay. So, would anyone like to... I guess for Juggler and Fenric, are you guys concluded with your character generation then? Have they as together as they're going to be?
I'm still just looking at the gear real quick.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I'm almost there.
Yeah. Juggler, have you got your character together now?
I think so.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about him?
Well, he was alive a long time ago. Well, I don't know how long ago. And then he was killed. He was with this carnival troupe where he knew some of the other player characters. He was juggled, and his main act or event was, he could juggle a number of things, but was juggling daggers and then throwing them, and maybe he had an assistant and use them, like that target board type of thing.
Yeah.
And he crossed the wrong people, or who knows? He doesn't really remember. I think that's the coolest thing to me is, I don't know how this happened.
Yeah.
He doesn't really remember. And I would even say like every time he just calls himself the juggler because he doesn't want to know what his real name was, and maybe he doesn't know. And every time someone like Caden or Moonbeam wants to tell him, he's like, no, don't tell me. Maybe they don't know either. Maybe they've forgotten. And I think he's dedicated to the Fates because they gave him a second chance. As it's one of the old gods as the Fates.
Okay. Nice.
And,
how did he and Moonbeam fall in, do you think?
Like, he just like I think he kind of recognized Moonbeam from someone from before. And maybe, whether the carnival troupe is still going around, I guess that's up to you guys to decide. I would say maybe it fell apart, but maybe, it's up to you guys, really.
Things in the old country were quite rough.
Right.
So
right. So I think they're kind of among the refugees, and maybe I would say he just went up to Moonbeam and said, "Hey, it's me.
okay.
And tell me my name." Because obviously he's dead, right?
Okay. Moonbeam, do you know his name?
Of course.
Okay.
I mean, even if I didn't know it, I could have divined it.
True. Yeah.
The spell roll doesn't seem to work. I don't know what I did wrong.
Let's take a look here.
It says it just gives me the Bane Boon pop up, and then nothing shows up in chat.
Okay, let's see here.
Yeah, that one works. The combat precognition.
Okay.
And then I have pronounced doom beside it in the attack spells.
Bane, because of the plus sign.
Uh,
Nope, nope. Let's see here. What is going on? Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the spell part doesn't work. Doesn't have any damage.
Why is it prompting you for... Oh, because it's an attack spell. Input value.
Maybe it shouldn't have been an attack spell? I don't know. Maybe if I put it under spell cards, it would have worked.
Hold up here. I'm going to try something else. Nope, that doesn't work either. Seems. It's curious.
Yeah.
Hold up.
I was going to try adding it under spell cards. Maybe that would work.
Yeah, still nothing, eh? There we go. There's got to be something under damage.
Oh.
Yeah, you just put 0 if it's a 0. But
Oh, like if I put a 0 there, you think it'll do it?
let's see.
Yep.
Boom.
There you go.
Not my first time to the I won't work for you roll 20 rodeo. So
Nice. There we go.
Okay.
I shall pronounce their doom.
Good.
Spells work as far as charges or whatever. Like that one.
That is how many castings. Each individual
I see.
spell.
It says one there. Yeah, one.
It'll tell you
casting.
how many castings you have. You will regain your castings with a rest.
Right. Okay.
And Caden, how do you think you fell in with this, given your military academy? Sorry, how did you fall in with the carnival?
So I think what happened is he used to be a common mugger, mugged the wrong person, but turned out that was a member of the military academy, and sort of saw potential or just the sheer bulk and strength.
Yeah.
And sort of recruited me, and it all went well for a while, but then someone pissed me off, I reverted to my old ways, or someone realized that, normally they just had noble sons and daughters in or something, like that, and I had to leave town rapidly, and so this circus could do with some extra, carriers and bodyguards and protectors, or...
Can I make a suggestion, guys? What if, Fenric, they were trying to get you to go to the similar school? Your family was like, this will straighten him out and get him on the right path. And the two of you were in, like, kind of the reprobates in the military academy together. And both of you were like, you want to fuck off? Or, yes, fuck off.
Yeah, I like that as a catalyst for him wanting to walk away from that life.
Okay. And that brings our two kind of parts of the group together. Then it was the two of you who had friends that you knew who could help along with this. Why did Oakley and Sirocco go along with this? I mean, money notwithstanding, of course, because if the Darkmane family was about to fall apart, perhaps there was very little money left behind. But what do you guys think?
Sean, you're muted.
Nope, Sweet Toast Mo.
Oh.
Let's see, if I made my original break with Fenric, I think we were originally... I'm along for the ride, maybe literally, for a while. As he's leaving town and he's the train, and I'm like, yep, let's go. And tell me, I'm sure I just missed it, but Jamie, what was your rationale? If I'm looking to piggyback, possibly, what was your?
Well, he and Caden went to, I guess, the military together, and that was a catalyst for him wanting to,
Gotcha.
abandon his legacy.
Yes. I mean, I think probably the carnival reflects a little bit of the mischief of magic, in a sense.
You guys are not starting as part of a carnival, FYI. Just the other ones have carnival backgrounds, but
We have in the background, sorry.
yeah.
Gotcha.
I must confess, I detest the sort of like, we're going to be part of a carnival, trope. So that is my own prejudice in this. Saying like, no, unless you want to see them all horribly fucking murdered in that first session, then.
Now it's time for the Peace Act, though, Kevin.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that as having been captured, he doesn't have a lot going on, and so I think Sirocco is probably not necessarily going to. He doesn't like being alone, and so I mean, if nothing else, Fenric was his ticket out. They've spent some time together. They're both sort of disgruntled for their own reasons, looking to get away from their own situations for their own reasons. And I think Sirocco is going to be a little loath just to for without a really good reason, just to go off on his own. So I don't think he's as pulled as he is pushed. That that he's got his group now. I mean, it's not he's taking things as they come, but there's no good reason just to go off by himself. I mean, he wants to.
No, and not to take away from your idea about the connection with the circus, because you do have at least 3 circus folk who are in this too. So it could very well be that as you guys got to know one another, then you were like, wait, you can juggle?
Right. And you got paid for it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because I think he's curious about such things. It awakened his curiosity sitting there in the cage, obviously wildly bored and captured, and then seeing the books and looking over the shoulders and, the knowledge and some mischief in there. And so, yeah, he's got his eyes were open to like things that are new and strange and even weird.
Yeah.
So,
nice way to put a bow on it.
Right.
What about Oakley?
Yeah, I think Oakley's looking to head eastward anyway. Wants to kind of find out what's going on over there. And this group that he's become attached to, they're going to disappoint me. They're not very, they're just selfish bastards. It's all going to go wrong. But nevertheless, it's what I've got, so I need to put up with it.
That sounds good. Oh, man. What about, I think we've got everybody then. Fenric, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, so Fenric was definitely, he's a warg, and so obviously he has a wild side, likes to explore, likes to kind of get away and not be bound by too much responsibility, which I think overwhelmed him when he inherited lands from his family, which he rejected in favor of adventure with his friend Caden and Sirocco. So I think he wandered off, leaving sort of that behind him and only looking forward to exploring his wild side and seeing what weird adventures he can get into eastward.
Nice. Have we completed all of our characters now? Oakley and Sirocco. I think Oakley was selecting some talents for your traditions, and Sirocco, you were trying to land on which of the 2 of the 31 you were going to...
Still flittering about as a harpy does.
There you go. Role-playing right from the get-go.
Yep. I'll cover up my tardiness with a bit of narrative nonsense there of flitting. And...
We always welcome that. Do you guys have any questions for each other about your characters?
It wouldn't hurt at the very end if we, I know we've been talking about the whole time, but just encapsulation. We may or not be there, but just the, just to remind me of everyone's, 90-second version that where they came from and why. And
sure.
Because even as you ask that question, I'm looking at everyone thinking, okay, wait, so Caden came from Oakley and then Moonbeam, try to remember all the different parts that got, part of the whole.
I do like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oakley,
once people feel they're ready.
Yeah. Have you landed on your talents? No rush. You have. So what do you got by way of talents?
Okay, so I was just working on the spells, but the talents I've mentioned warp flesh.
Yep.
So I've got that one, and the other one I've got is majestic presence. You can basically do the thing that Gandalf does when he's trying to persuade Bilbo to do something. I suddenly seem much more powerful than really I probably am, and it basically intimidates people around me.
Yeah.
My magic seems to be all about altering and affecting people, and that's just as well because they're flawed. So anything I do to them is probably fair game, to be honest. So I've got things like light healing, which might be useful to people, bestowing might, charming people, and altering their emotions.
I'm double checking now to see if there is a master path that is just simply called Weird Wizard, because I'm pretty sure we know where he's headed.
Yeah.
Then that leaves a Sirocco for your traditions. You do get more at level 2.
Yep, I am. I'm thinking it's going to be hard to pass up on the teleportation.
Okay.
idea. And I was kind of going back and forth with aeromancy and my chaos idea. I think I'm going to go...
While you're thinking, I'll fill up some air here while you're considering. One thing that is very neat about the game, too, I have in the past been reluctant to run Shadow of the Demon Lord because it's only 10 levels. And I'm like, well, I tend to run, if I'm running an ongoing game, I kind of like not having a time limit on it. But the variety of interesting characters that you get to play in this game, and in Shadow of the Demon Lord, I think that's the trade-off for having a shorter campaign, is that every character you're going to make is going to be a unique and interesting character that will allow you to try cool new options with it. So I think that is, it's very cool to see that that's carried over from this. And this is only the first books that are out for it, too. If this carries along the same tradition as Shadow of the Demon Lord, we can expect a bunch of cool stuff expanding on some of these core ideas over the course of the coming years. So that is cool, too. Has that stalled enough for you, Sean?
Yeah, I think probably the aeromancy. The chaos is tempting, but the chaos actually has a table that sort of resembles like the Warhammer 40,000 like mishap table. So it's just
Nice.
you have no, it's called it's called chaos, and so at any given time, if you have a certain kind of roll, you roll on this table, and who knows, some bizarre thing happens.
Nice.
It's a little tempting, but I don't think I'm going to go with the aeromancy. I think makes a lot of sense with his ancestry.
Okay.
And his flying. There's a lot of wind involved and some lightning, and I think that folds in pretty well. And then his teleportation is how he escapes. So you got a little bit of background there. You got a little ancestry there.
Okay. So then you also get to select one talent from each of those, and then 4 spells in total at the novice rank between those traditions. So, are you ready to provide your introductions, everybody, for your weirdos?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. Sean, we'll start with you. We'll go left to right once again. Sean, who are you playing in this campaign?
So his name is Sirocco. I have not worked in it'll probably just come out. I think it's even best of how he originally became captured. But he was captured by an aristocratic is what I'm trying to search for desperately type family, and I think that's tied into Fenric, right? And his folks. You're aristocratic, right, Fenric?
Yes.
Yep. So in his general realm, either a neighboring family or what have you, something in that to bring us together, and so we know each other, whether it's his family or a relative or neighbors, and so I was caged. Is size 1? Is that the standard size? Is that man-sized, or that's man-sized, right? Yeah.
Yeah, standard. Yeah.
So it's interesting because harpies I had pictured as smaller, but not necessarily. So they are thought of as man-sized. Fair enough. So I was in a cage, and my captor was new magic, and so I used my time wisely, at least eventually, in reading over his shoulder, and soon enough learned enough and was able to starting probably with some humorous situations and experimentation where he kept saying, how did you get out of there, especially since the door is still locked. But fortunately he was just dense enough to think that well, obviously the harpy didn't actually, it has to be something else, because the harpy couldn't possibly have done something truly clever or be, really smart kind of thing. And so ignored it. And then suddenly I knew what I was doing, or at least just enough, and got away. And then found a train out of town named Fenric Darkmane, who is...
So if I might make a little bit firmer connection, I think perhaps because Fenric, we'll hear about... Well, Jamie, why don't we do you next then? You tell us about your character, and then I'll see if I can... The connection I thought I heard is what I had.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing Fenric Darkmane. He is a warg who is a human-looking and appearing creature who can actually transform into a wolf seamlessly. When he's in wolf form, he cannot speak, but he does take on some other attributes. But part of his background is that he really leaned into this ability and did a lot of exploring, adventuring, at least in small stakes, and eventually was summoned back to the family lands, where he learned that he had inherited those lands and the responsibilities that go along with it. I think having sort of looked further into the family business, he was both embarrassed and dissuaded from continuing that land holding and managing the property. Decided to branch off and expand on his time in military training with Caden, and really wanted to kind of venture out and leave that life behind him. I think at some point Sirocco would have been discovered on the property as being someone that was employed by the Dark Mains in a way that again Fenric didn't agree with, and I think they must have struck a chord together in their sensibilities and their desire to expand away from this lifestyle. So that's sort of where I see Fenric and his motivation.
Does that work, Sean?
Yeah.
Because what I was thinking is that, like, your former master, the arrogant one who didn't recognize that perhaps he died, he was the one who left the stuff to Fenric, and Fenric found, the laboratory and you outside of it, and it could have been a humorous situation of like, oh, you're my uncle, father, whatever the fuck, assistant. Not pet, right? Because you were outside of the cage, and perhaps it was like, yes, I was.
It's funny you should mention that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you don't need to go with that necessarily, but if you want that, then Fenric may not understand that you were a captive for the entire time beforehand.
Yeah, that sounds good. There may be, and there's probably room going forward to like sharpen it up, since it's in the past, that I might have escaped, but didn't get far yet, and was, I don't know, I'm not sure, like kind of almost haunting the manse at that point, trying to stay out of sight. I mean, who knows?
Well, imagine too, like, if you have been kept captive as a chick too, like, you may have thought like, all right, I'm out, now I'm gonna go, and then you're like, where the fuck do I go? Like, all I've learned is magic and stuff like that, and and
I don't like being alone is a key part of Harpies.
Yeah.
Being out and being out, like where do I go? And so I still was around.
Yeah.
And he probably and there's probably some little detail that I'm not quite sure of yet. Of I was around, but he couldn't find me. My captor or something like in there. That
and I don't want to make this like every fucking session be about Anna, but like before I put up I've got a fence in the backyard that she now can't get beyond. We had an older fence that she was able to get through. The one time she got out of it, though, I could hear crying outside, and I go outside, and she's on the other side of the fence, and she can't figure her way to get back in. So that she wanted to run away. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm out here now! Please let me back."
Right. Yeah, and if I may, perhaps you have a little bit of Stockholm syndrome that's sunk in, and that's why we haven't really gotten to the bottom of the story of you being a pet versus an assistant.
Yeah. And we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in the next, whatever.
Okay. Who would like to go next? Carl, you want to go?
Yeah. I mean, do I need to? Well, so he, I guess he had probably joined the carnival troupe when he was young. Probably dabbled in small petty crimes. Like the game, the shell game and things like that. Eventually working his way up, probably finding some sort of criminal element within the troupe, whether that's involved with Kate or not, or whether he came later. I guess we could figure that out. But eventually he learned something he shouldn't have. He did something he shouldn't have. I think it's very vague for him. I think, his brain is half rotted, so the memory part maybe goes first. But he did something, and the fates, his cord was snipped, and he probably has this vision of the fates restitching it for some of their own purpose. And waking up in an alley, is still having his juggling daggers his main event, and one in his back. It's the extra one, and wandering with the other refugees east and seeing people he thinks he used to know in his past life.
Okay.
And gravitating towards them. That's kind of part of his personality.
I have a question. Moonbeam, did you foresee that the juggler was coming back into your life?
Yeah, probably. Maybe that's why I joined up with them. Maybe we did used to work together at the carnival for a bit there while he was alive, but I haven't seen this remnant version until we were sort of fleeing as refugees, and then I ran into him again and sort of, befriended him and saw it as a sign that we had reconnected.
Okay. Why don't you tell us about who Moonbeam is?
So Moonbeam is a wood sprite who, was probably traveling or, playing in the forest with all of her gang of sprites as usual. And, some human civilization or something came along and they were scattered to the winds and killed. And she sort of ended up maybe captured for a bit. Someone thought, and brought to the city and then escaped and sort of like, or scared them, predicted the future in some way that like scared the lady or that she had been gifted to by the soldier, predicted something in her life about her bow was going to die and then he died and she's got scared of me and let me go. And then I sort of, was in this city life, maybe found this career in the carnival, predicting people's futures as sort of a way to survive. Probably during this part of her life is when she got all of her tattoos.
I was going to ask if it was a choice on her part or if it was something that was imposed on her, but that's cool that she elected to cover herself.
I think so. It started with like she saw tattoos on people and was like, oh, that's it's amazing. And then she got some to like remember her friends and her new friends and all that. So it's very much the story of her life is her tattoos.
Okay.
And probably some of them are the future. Some of her tattoos.
Okay.
And then she fell in with the refugees.
How big is she as a sprite?
It says half size.
Okay, so like 3 feet tall?
I guess so, yeah. I think she's pretty small and lithe, so
2 feet.
2.5 feet, somewhere in there. 2 feet?
2 feet and around 24 pounds. You could pass for a human child if not for the wide staring eyes and pointed ears that betray your fey nature.
There you go.
Wow. Caden, show us about you.
So one of the token humans in the group. I think he sort of possibly grew up in a less well-to-do part of town, fell in with criminal elements, tried to make a living as sort of fairly brutish, not particularly sophisticated, just grabbing people using his bulk and heft and strength to just go, give me your money. And that worked for a while until he sort of grabbed the wrong person who turned out to be part of his military academy, but offered him a chance. So thinking in his criminal past, he had associations with the same traveling troupe or carnival that Moonbeam and the Juggler did. But then, when he was offered his chance to escape all of that, he joined the military academy where he met Fenric. And it went wild for a while, so he learned a lot. Like, he is a fighter, the training took, but the rigidity and maybe, he pissed off the wrong person or resorted to ignoring the chain of command. And then when Fenric sort of just was like, hey, let's get out of here, it was like, absolutely, let's ditch this crowd and hit the road. And then we met up with Moonbeam and the others again, or cross path. We're like, hey, I remember you. I thought you were dead. Oh, you are actually dead. You're dead. And then Will was okay.
It's weird. I heard you died. I got better.
Yeah. And so he still sometimes, uses his old ways, but he He's also actually a trained fighter now, but yeah, often possibly resorts to using violence as a first response to solving a problem.
Okay. And then finally, Oakley.
Oakley's he's not at all what I was expecting him to be, which of course is the whole point. He's a disappointing and nondescript sort of a man, cowled slightly, has gone out into the wilderness, dug too deep, discovered sort of magical spirits that even now whisper of opportunities in the east. His inability to his poor social interactions have driven a magic which enables him to warp people to do things that they don't particularly want, and he finds that ghoulishly amusing, I think. He's a very strange, I think he's quite a strange individual who's been affected by the spirit that spoke to him. His connection is through the Darkmane family and work that he was undertaking, but that wasn't especially successful in terms of what he was trying to do. Instead, he came back changed and affected by what he discovered, and has hooked up with the group as a possibly something of a spare part to take that journey. If they're heading east, then he's heading east with them.
If Oakley was in the employ of the I can't remember, the bequeather? No, who would it be? Whoever left the estate to Fenric. If you worked for that person, how do Sirocco and Oakley know one another, or do they? Because Oakley was a favored pet of that individual, and you were doing work for them.
What do you think, Sean?
How much were you around the estate, Oakley? You were off in the field mainly. Is that true?
Yeah, I was out. Right? Yeah.
You were out. I mean, you came in, you could have at least come in, when you come in for meetings, I could have been in the cage, at the caged part of it. And so that was, I'm right there, basically kind of a prized little pet, check this out, kind of fun. Or it's after my escape, quote unquote, because, out of the cage, but now in the attic. I'm the haunted manse of the attic occupant, and then Oakley goes by, and Oakley has to go through the mansion at some point having meetings at one time or another, and looks around the corner and goes, what? Is that like a winged creature in there? Some kind of encounter like that brought us. And I'm, and I'm like, and you're like, okay, whatever.
No, that's fine by me. Yeah, I like that. And I think somebody who's sequestered away and is slightly other probably appeals to Oakley slightly.
Yeah.
Of course, there will be a flashback scene when we find out that Oakley provided the egg that Sirocco hatched from Judith, right? As part of your prospecting.
Right. And had another one and had to put it away quietly as I'm like,
that's all incredible. All right. Then that is our group of weirdos who will be making their appearance in Newtown. Anything further you guys have to add about your characters, or any questions you have for one another?
I have a few things that I haven't been able to fill in, which probably doesn't matter, but things like damage and defense and bonus damage, do they come later?
Defense will be from your novice path.
So I've got natural defense. Is that the same thing?
Yeah. So defense is when you wear armor or use shields.
Thank you.
Natural
Brilliant.
Defense is when you're not using those things.
Got it. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
I think
And bonus damage, I think, starts at level 2.
Okay.
Well, and not everyone will get bonus damage.
No, okay.
It's more of a fighter rogue thing than mages.
And of course, all that stuff from your ancestry doesn't count unless you've chosen ancestry as your novice path, right? You use your novice path, whatever you've chosen for those.
Use
stats.
the traits from your ancestry you get. The things that are under the level 1 novice path you do not get unless you have chosen the ancestry path. So, like,
Right.
for Sirocco, you will have... Where are you here? Harpy. The Harpy traits are size 1, speed 5, fly, bonus language of Harpy, you have keen vision for senses, and you have natural weapons. You can use your talons together as a single nimble natural weapon that deal 1d6 damage. You do not get deadly instincts or wing block, which are the level 1 abilities.
Gotcha. And those attributes, how about the attributes? You use your novice.
You use what you got. This, you only use those ones if you're using that as a replacement for your novice path.
That's what I figured. Just checking.
Yep. Perfect. Any other questions?
Would I still get Harpy language? That's in the same section. Do I not know Harpy?
No. If you look up, it's actually not. It's under the bonus, under Harpy traits, your bonus language of Harpy.
Okay.
Because even in the level 1 Harpy, it says in brackets, from trait.
Oh, from trait. Got it. That's what does it for me. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions?
The question Caden has is, does maybe Caden or all of us know that Fenrir is a warg? How open is he about the whole, I can turn into a wolf?
Oh, you're muted, Jamie.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be known, but probably not something you've seen him do often.
How many times can you do it at will, or is it?
I don't see anything in here that limits it. No wording that sort of limits.
That's
I don't
consistent
see any,
with
charges.
this. Yeah, it's incredible how permissive they are about some unusual traits and stuff like this. Like it's a very refreshing change from like 4th or other ones where it's like, well, hold on, you're gonna hit level 10 before anyone can fly. Like, fuck it, you get fly at level 1. Yeah, you can just use an action. I don't see any restrictions on it.
Yeah, that even still with that freedom, I think it would be very rare that anyone would have ever seen him in his wolf form, and if so, it would be, again, probably out of need.
Okay. Any other questions?
Where can we find the defense for the armor?
I believe that's in gear, which is right near beginning. So weapons are on page
57.
There we go. Yeah.
Thank you.
And to double check the requisites for strength. I don't think you're given anything that's going to be too heavy anyway, but just bear in mind armor has a strength requirement. I know this because when I played Shadow of the Demon Lord, I played a giant who had to wait until his strength got high enough so I could wear some really badass armor. So, then, unless there's anything else, guys?
Juggler, do we know how interested you are in finding out who your murderer is?
Oh, he's driven. He's interested.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
Oh, I guess, do we know you're a revenant? Do we know you're...
Oh, yeah.
Do you know? Yeah, you could smell it, and you can see the green tinge from the use of this strange herb that he's always trying to ask about. We can.
Carl says, "Do you know?" Oh, you know it.
Did someone have a rotten chicken breast in their pocket? What the fuck is that smell?
Sorry.
You spritz,
that's
Juggler. You spritz.
Here's the upside. He can't feign to be a corpse.
I can pretend to be a corpse out.
Yep.
Nice.
You need to get into like a prison or something.
Right.
Yep. He doesn't breathe, doesn't eat, doesn't get cold, doesn't get poisoned.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's totally right. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good. You're a walking advert to what we are all going to become.
There you go. It's not that bad.
For my rogue, I get another language, but what are the other languages in this?
You're a good reminder of
they
the
are?
fateful end, Moonbeam. If you're looking at people's future, then that's what it is for everybody.
Oh, where's the page? I can have one.
Periodically, when we're near death, the juggler will say, "It's not that bad. Relax. It's not that bad."
Languages.
You might actually proselytize.
Page 40. 40, Carl. 40.
You embrace the fates. Perhaps they will show mercy on you as well.
Right.
And just remember, you
40.
Yeah, and you cannot take secret languages.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
so you know, like thieves can't or anything?
You cannot take secret languages, no.
Okay.
You have to be from certain paths in order to gain access to those.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, then. Any other questions, guys?
Oh, maybe. So I guess Moonbeam speaks Sylvan, right? Is that
That's right. Yep.
so? Perhaps he speaks Sylvan because it's kind of fun and funny.
Crossover.
All right. I mean, hand signs. Anyone else do hand signs?
I mean, I know one, but...
Oh yeah. That's part of common, though, isn't it? It's rolled into common. Okay. Yeah. All right. He'll take Sylvan.
Okay.
That sounds.
Perfect. So then, any other questions?
I think so.
Okay. And guys, we have our weirdos. So for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for session 0 of our Decade of Doom campaign. We will be playing, let's see here, I believe it is the final Saturday of every month. We are, except for we are taking a break in July. So let's see here. Our first session will be February 22nd, where we will be kicking off the Decade of Doom campaign, playing on a monthly basis, characters going up 1 level between sessions and 1 year passing between each. So, any closing comments? Comments? I don't know. Comments even? Guys, having gone through the character generation for Shadow of the Weird Wizard, what's your takeaway for it?
Love it. Can't wait to play.
It's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of
It's
flavorful
amazing.
characters here.
There's a lot of flavor. Yeah. A lot of flavor,
Wow.
but not pages and pages of stuff to go through. So I like it.
Yep.
It's really
Good
fun.
flashbacks of Demon Lord too. Good,
Well,
good there.
Yeah, I appreciate too, Kev, that you gave us an opportunity to kind of object to it, something that might ruin our image of the game. I think I love that everybody kind of came to a really kind of tight, concise group of weirdos that work. I think it works together.
Yeah, it just especially with it having that, the wide open choice. I think everyone brings in conceptions of what's possible, but also what is just not going to fit. So it's good that everybody was like, "Yep, that makes sense for me." So fantastic. Once again, I'm very sorry what's going to happen in a month's time, but for then, thank you, I will say, for those listening at home for joining us. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the game, or the campaign we're about to kick off, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where all of us are active. We have channels there dedicated to this campaign. Oh, I don't think we have one for this campaign yet. We might soon. So there's probably one I can repurpose. But there's channels dedicated to most other games and campaigns we run on the channel. There's a Find a Group channel, a GM discussion, virtual tabletop chat. There is a terrific, helpful, knowledgeable, and friendly community over there, and you are more than welcome to join us. There's also a link down below to also what I'm going to do is include links, because I forgot to do it so far. Carl and Jamie both have their own YouTube channels as well, and I'll have links to those. Graham has one, but I don't know how active you've been on it. But what I will find a link to for Graham, because he has an upcoming release of a new edition of his Arthurian RPG. So I'll have a link to your drive-through. So if you want to see some of Graham's work, for instance, the Heroic Fantasy 2nd Edition RPG. Anna. Nope. Yes. Hold on.
Now chewed.
You know what? I mean, it's well understood lore that the most fun place to put your ball is where all of the wires are. So, isn't that right? Yeah, good girl. Again, fucking too smart. Speaking of too smart for her own good, she knows the outro, so she knows it's time to go and play.
Time to go.
Yeah, she recognizes it without fail. So for those that we have channels dedicated to all of that, we also have a Dungeon Dogs channel. So if you want to see who's been making a bunch of noise in the background, pictures of Anna and everybody else's pets are over there too. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an incredible selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs, like, I don't know, say the Dark Eye RPG or Fading Suns RPG. If they do not have in stock something that you were looking for, you can put it on a want list, and they'll send you an email when it comes in. And if you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code Happy Muse Year. It is written in the description below. It is easier to write than it is to say. That will save you 10% on any purchase of $10 or more. And at the time of recording, they're also still having their international shipping special. So if you, depending on your country, there's a different threshold for it. But if you buy over a certain threshold, like say you want to fill a hole in the obscure German RPG collection, you can do so and save yourself some money on shipping. And the last thing I will say is an enormous thank you to our pack of weirdos. So Sean, Carl, Jeffrey, Jamie, David, and Graham, thank you so much for joining me today and for making such incredibly interesting characters. I cannot wait to inflict the world of the Borderlands on you. So we'll be back in 1 month's time, but until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the fascinating process of creating characters in Shadow of the Weird Wizard. As is always the case, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our heroes will soon be encountering. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.